Very much, Speaker, and my question is for the Premier. Premier, the Ontario PC Party has been clear on where we stand when it comes to Ontario's finances. You must control spending if you want to bring down your ballooning deficit and control debt. Controlling your finances means you stop spending money that you don't have. Your spineless move to pacify the teachers' unions on the backs of everyday Ontarians is deplorable. Your job is to treat everyone fairly, organized labour and ordinary taxpayers in Ontario. But you've buckled under the teachers' union barrage and thrown every other Ontarian under the bus. The 7-month-long siege is evidence of a widening fairness gap in the Ontario workplace. Thousands of public sector workers enjoy higher salaries, guaranteed pensions and special perks that other Ontarians just don't get. Premier, based on your current education budget, what are the long-term ramifications? Will you stand in your place and pledge that next year the restored perks you've just swallowed won't be at the expense of ordinary taxpayers?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, I think I've been clear on what we believe was an imperative to work with the education sector and make sure that the students in our schools had access to extracurricular activities and that we have a respectful dialogue with the people who work in our schools, Mr. Speaker. We really believe that that is the way to improve the education system. I also know that the party opposite does not hold the same belief in publicly funded education that we do, which is evidenced by their previous action. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about our economic progress. We are on track. In fact, we're ahead of schedule to eliminate the deficit by 2017-18. We've restricted overall spending increases, Mr. Speaker. We're supporting small business, Mr. Speaker. We're building a 21st century workforce, Mr. Speaker. We're ensuring that small, medium business has access to capital. We just contributed $50 million to a $300 million venture capital fund. All of those things we're doing, Mr. Speaker, to grow the economy and to constrain our spending.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Premier, you don't have to answer me, but you do need to address the millions of Ontarians who can never expect the same perks as those you've given your union cronies. This is a critical time for our province. Your next moves inform nearly 4,000 public sector contracts still up for negotiation. Setting this precedent and collapsing under the guerrilla warfare of organized labour sends a clear message to everyone in this province. The Liberal government is a puppet of your labour unions. Premier, again, will you state that there will be zero impact as a result of this agreement when the books are opened next year? Or will we be in another one of your now infamous McGuinty win oopses? Premier, tell us now and tell us all, how many education workers, teachers and/or new positions will have to go to pay for these additional perks?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So once again, I will just repeat what I have said, which is the money that was in the contracts when I came into this office is the same money that's there now, Mr. Speaker. The $1.8 billion that we have saved as a result of the contracts that were dealt with by the previous minister and by the previous premier is the same savings that we are able to realize today, Mr. Speaker. What's changed, Mr. Speaker, and I talked about it during the leadership, is that I really believe that it's very important that we have a respectful dialogue with the people who teach the children and grandchildren of everyone in this province, Mr. Speaker. I think that the only way that we can continue to improve our education system, and remember, our educated workforce is a very important condition of economic growth, and that's one of the things I never hear the party opposite talk about, how important it is that we have the best education system in the world in order to be able to grow our economy, Mr. Speaker. That's our priority on this side of the House.
Your question.